Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, Falling Over Books. Today's video is going to be my November wrap-up. I read a total of 31 books this month, so let's get to it. The first book I read in the month of November was Fling by Janet Aston, and this is the 2.5 in her Wrong Companion series. This is a adult romance, or new adult romance, and this I gave 4 out of 5 stars. Then we had Pay For by Alexa Riley, which I gave 2 out of 5 stars. Then I read Lucas by Jay McLean, and this is the first book in her new series Preston Brothers, which is a spin-off of the More Than series, and this I gave 4 out of 5 stars. And then I read my first physical book, which was Three Dark Crowns by Kendare Blake, and this I gave 3 out of 5 stars. I liked it more at the second half of the book. The first half I found very boring, but it picked up and I really enjoyed the last half of the book. But I'm definitely going to pick up the second book because it's only a duology, and I think my favorite character is definitely Mirabella. But this series is a young adult fantasy that follows 3 sisters, 3 triplets, who have to battle it out to be the next queen. After that, I read A Million Worlds with You by Claudia Gray, and this I gave 4 out of 5 stars. This is the final book in the Firebird trilogy, which is a young adult sci-fi fantasy. No, it's more like a fantasy. It's about different dimensions and time travel, kind of. It's really cool. I love this series. It's one of my favorites, and I was so sad to finish this off. My favorite dimensions are definitely the Russian ones. I just have so much fun reading them, and I'm so obsessed with the series, and I'm so sad to say goodbye. I'm definitely going to reread this trilogy sometime soon because I love this series. After that, I read The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. This I gave 4 out of 5 stars. I really liked this. I loved more the second half of the book. I found first half a little bit hard to get into, and I was just having trouble not really relating to the characters, but just kind of getting to know them and their situations. But this is about Natasha and Daniel, who meet one day when Natasha is trying to delay her family's deportation, and it just follows them in one day. And I think I found that aspect a little bit weird and unrealistic, and the fact that it felt maybe too rushed, I guess, but I still really liked it, and I love this cover. After that, I read Trust by Janet Aston, and this is the 3rd book in the Wrong series, and this I gave 3 out of 5 stars. After that, I read Royally Screwed by Emma Chase. This I gave 3 out of 5 stars. I liked it, but didn't love it. It follows a modern-day prince who finds and falls in love with a commoner, and it's fun, light, fluffy, all the jazz. It just didn't do it for me. Next, I read Eerie, I'm not really sure how to say this, by Maria Devana Headley, and this I gave 3 out of 5 stars. This is the sequel to Magonia, which I read last year and loved that book. I was obsessed with that book for a little while. I read this, and this one was a disappointment. I just didn't feel the same vibes I felt when I read Magonia. I felt like this was very separate, and I don't know how I feel about it, Magonia for me didn't seem like it needed a sequel. It kind of ended on an open ending, but still finished ending, and this just added more that I didn't really need. After that, I read Getting Jailed by Mia Storm, and this is the first book in her Jailbait series. I gave this 1 star. Did not like it. Next, I read All the Missing Girls by Megan Miranda, and this I gave 4 out of 5 stars. I really liked it. I mean, the main character's first name is Nicolette's. So that's like automatic, like 10 points, because same name, same spelling. Yes. And this is an adult mystery thriller that follows Nicolette, who has to go home to help her dad, and 10 years ago she had her best friend go missing, and so they try to figure out what happened and all that kind of stuff. I didn't expect what happened, like I didn't predict it. What is my camera doing? But I found it very confusing because it's told like backwards from day 15 to day 1. I'm still really confused on the timeline and what things happened when, but overall I still really like the book. Next, I read Endurance by Georgia Cates, and this is the 4th book in the Sin trilogy, and this I gave 4 out of 5 stars. I really liked it. It's kind of like a mob, or like a crime, mob, criminal, romance, suspense novel. I really loved it. Then after that, I read My Lady Jane by Cynthia Ham, Brody Ashton, and Jodi Meadows. And I loved this book. It was so amazing. I give this 4 out of 5 stars. It was funny, it was easy to read, easy to follow along. This is historical fiction, kind of a retelling, but not really, about Lady Jane Grey, who was queen, I think for like 6 days or something, and then she was executed. This kind of retelling, it's super funny. It has like shape-shifting here. It's hilarious. I cannot wait to read more books by this trio, like of them writing together, because this book was phenomenal. Like I did not expect to love it this much, but it was so good. Then after that, I read Managed by Kristen Clean, I think, and this is the 2nd book in her VIP series, which is a adult contemporary romance about rock stars, and this I gave 4 out of 5 stars. I read Something in Between by Melissa de la Cruz, and this is a young adult contemporary that follows a really popular scholar girl who who is trying to get scholarships and all that stuff, and then she finds out that her parents lied to her and that their visa is expired and they are illegal immigrants, and she has to deal with that fact and all of that stuff. I found this book very informative, and like I learned stuff in this book, especially about the US like system. Like I don't know anything about the US system because I'm in Canada. So I found that very informative, but I think I really like the characters, and her family, Jasmine's family, was like the best. They were, you know, nice and funny and, you know, hardworking, and they were just really great. But there was something about this book that I just could not like give it more than 3 stars. Wanting My Stepsister by Alexa Riley, which I gave 2 out of 5 stars. Then I picked up The Couple Next Door by Cherie Lapena. This is an adult mystery thriller, and this is a Canadian author, so whoop. And this follows a couple who go to their neighbors for like a dinner party, and they leave their baby daughter in their house next door with like a baby monitor, and they go check up on her every couple of hours, and then they return home from their dinner party and they realize their baby is not there. Someone stole their baby. I like this. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I think my only complaint is there were some aspects that were very like, you knew what was going to happen. It was very like predictable at some points, and the writing was very like basic, which I think I really like though, because it's not hard for me to follow along, but it is kind of basic writing and stuff, but I still really liked it. After that, I read Sweet Cheeks by Kay Broomberg, and this I gave 3 out of 5 stars. And this is about 2 people who dated in high school and then they kind of reconnect. After that, I read Tiger's Curse by Colleen Hook, which I gave 2 out of 5 stars. Honestly, I think like 2012 and 13 me would have loved this, but since I've read so many things similar to this, or just, you know, along the same typical YA stuff that was released back in those days, it just wasn't for me. Like, the only part I liked is the relationship between Kelsey and Ren, and I really like their relationship together, and that was probably the only interesting part for me. I can't believe I actually finished this whole book because that was all I cared about. And I'm not going to pick up the rest of the series because I looked up all the spoilers and I have no regrets about it. I picked up Replica by Lauren Oliver. You've obviously probably seen this book everywhere. This I gave 3 out of 5 stars. I really liked it. I found the beginning a little slow, but I did still really like it. I recommend reading it back and forth, but in the beginning I suggest reading like 3 chapters of Lyra, then 3 chapters of Gemma, and back and forth until you hit maybe like chapter 12 or 13. Then I recommend you read 1 back and forth, because then they kind of overlap and then you miss things, you know what I mean? I'm not sure, but that's how I read it, and I found I got a lot from it. So just if you were wondering how to read it, that's how I read it. I definitely am gonna pick up the second book if it's about the same characters, because I do want to find out what happens to the next. I really did like this book. After that, I read The Nerdy and the Dirty by B.T. Gottfried, and this I gave 2 out of 5 stars. I was super excited to read this, but I started it and I was like, what is this? It's very weird and just, I'm not sure. Like, I don't really know what the point of the book was, to be honest. I mean, I understand that the characters had to have character development, but it was so weird, and they're like, I don't know, they joked a lot in using like the R word, which I don't like. Like especially in like young adults. Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't really find the point of this book, if that makes sense. That I marathoned, I devoured a trilogy, and that is the Royal Trilogy by Aaron Watt. The first book, Paper Princess, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars. Then we have Broken Prince, which I gave also 4 out of 5 stars. Then Twisted Palace, which I also gave 4 out of 5 stars. I really like this series. It's kind of problematic, but I mean, I'm trash for problematic romance, contemporary stuff. This follows a girl who is kind of living on her own since her mother died, and she then meets this guy who claims that he's like her current guardian or whatever, and then she gets roped up in this family of boys where she meets Reed. And I just devoured these. I love them. They're so drama filled and just like addicting. Like, I read these in like the span of 2 days. Like, I was just in it to win it. This is definitely a 4-star read for me. After that, I read The Husband's Secret by Liane Moriarty. This I gave 3 out of 5 stars. It's more like 3.5. I really liked this. It's just, I think it was too long maybe. It follows a woman who, it actually follows like 3 main characters, I guess, but it follows a woman who finds this letter in a closet, and it's addressed to her. It's from her husband, and she asks her husband about it, and he says, oh, that's a letter that I wrote a while ago, and don't open it. Of course, like, she has to open it, right? And then you find out all these secrets. It's just, it was really good. I like kind of how this played a little bit with fate, especially like the ending, or the epilogue, I think. I just really liked it, and there's other kind of storylines within the book with other characters, but I really liked it. It wasn't, I thought it was like more of like a mystery thriller, but it's more just like contemporary with mystery, I guess, like with a mystery aspect. I really liked it, and it was good. Next I picked up was Heartless by Marissa Meyer, and this I gave a 3 out of 5 stars. I just don't know what it is, but it just wasn't my thing. I just wasn't into it. I liked the beginning. I found really boring. The ending I really liked. I just really was fascinated with that ending. I thought it was great. But it just wasn't for me. And this is a young adult's retelling, I guess, of the Queen of Hearts and like what happens to her. Next I read Words I Couldn't Say by Tessa Teven. And this is the first book in the Promise in Prose series. This I gave a 3 out of 5 stars. Delivering the Virgin, a romance novella by Cassandra D. This I gave 1 star. This by Anne Mercier, which is the 7th book in the Rockstar series, which I gave 3 out of 5 stars. Fire in You by Jay Lynn or Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the 6th book in the Wait For You series. This I gave also a 3 out of 5 stars. Then I read Stealing Christmas by Alexa Riley, and this I gave 2 out of 5 stars. And the final book that I read in the month of November was The Goldfinch. I'm still reading it, actually. I started this, I think on like the 21st or 22nd. No, I can't remember. But I went on a road trip, and it was like a 6-hour drive there, and I read 300 pages there, and I was gonna finish it on the way back, but I got lazy and I actually didn't feel good, so I didn't read it. I do plan to finish it maybe this weekend, but I don't know. It's so big. I am liking it so far though, so that's that. Yes, so those are all the books that I read in the month of November. I definitely read quite a few good books this month, which I'm really happy about. So yeah, make sure you give this video a like, subscribe, follow me on all my other social media, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!